everybody, and welcome to the wonderful world, or not so wonderful world, of Lies of P, which is an upcoming Souls-like where you become Pinocchio in a world that draws heavy inspiration from Bloodborne. I know you all hear about new Souls-likes all the time, especially if you hang out in my stream, so this video is going to be focused on what makes Lies of P unique, what it's doing that sets itself apart in this very popular genre, and why you should be paying attention to it, even if you are someone who's played a ton of Souls-likes and maybe you're feeling a little bit fatigued with this specific genre. So first off, let's start with talking about the weapon system. In Lies of P, each weapon is made of two parts, the head and the handle, except for some special weapons that you can find in the world. The head of any weapon can be mixed with the handle of any other weapon, which changes what stat the weapon scales with. And if you've played any kind of Souls-like or Dark Souls game, you will know that scaling dexterity, strength, etc., it's a similar thing here. So it not only changes the scaling of that weapon, but it will also change its moveset and its special abilities, leaving us with the possibility of hundreds upon hundreds of combinations to play around with and find the perfect weapon for your personal playstyle. Another part of the combat is the Legion arm, which is a prosthetic that attaches to Pinocchio's left arm and has its own scaling and special abilities that are separate from your main hand weapon. Legion arms can also be upgraded to make their special ability more potent. For example, let's take a look at the puppet string, which was available to mess around with in the demo, that once upgraded allows you to fly towards your enemy and do this super sweet looking aerial attack instead of before its upgrade, where you can just pull the enemy towards you. Or Pandemonium, that once upgraded allows you to shoot toxic liquid twice in different directions instead of just once in one specific pattern. The variety of weaponry at your disposal across the main hand weapons, their combinations, and the Legion arm means that Lies of P is offering up a lot more ways to customize how you approach combat than most other Souls-likes on the market. Not to mention that some of these weapon movesets just look really goddamn cool. They really did an incredible job with the animation and the visceral feel of all of these weapons. Next, let's move on to the story of Lies of P. Many Souls games have followed the FromSoft way of storytelling through environmental storytelling, reading items lore, etc., and not necessarily telling you outright what's happening. Lies of P is kind of doing both and also adding something a little fresh to this specific genre. The thing that Lies of P is doing differently is making you have choices in dialogue options that will change the ending of the game, outcome of side quests, items that you obtain, and how characters will react to you. This is a story about Pinocchio, after all, and his whole thing is that he lies, that he, unlike other puppets, can choose to lie. I find this super interesting, not just because of the game mechanic itself that will make me want to play the game multiple times to get different endings, different items, to see the different outcomes of all of these quests, but because it also poses quite a philosophical question in what does it truly mean to be human? We are told even from the demo that only humans can lie. Puppets are simply incapable, and when we do lie, we can physically see it causing changes within Pinocchio's body. As he lies, he is becoming more human, becoming a real boy, you could say. This is all a lot more emotional of an experience that's offered in other Souls-likes. Hell, even in the demo, we got to have a taste of this. There's a side quest that has you go to find a woman's child. Upon finding that child, you realize they are a puppet and not a human as you may have expected. Upon returning to the woman, we're given an option to tell her the truth or lie and say, "The baby is beautiful." If we choose to lie, we're given a record called Feel. You can play this entire song in the game on a record player within Hotel Krot, which acts as your hub in the game, and it's really quite an emotional song with how it's performed.
Come to me, feel alright, just dance with me all through the night, turn it out, close to you. I feel good, 'cause I just know feeling of you. Give it to me, baby.
At this point during the demo is when I realized we were in for a treat of a game, not only in the mechanics and how combat felt and how the world just looked very Bloodborne, and as a Bloodborne fan, I was all about that, but also in how they observe what being human means. And I am genuinely so excited to see them in their own way tell that story through this kind of medium. I'm very curious to see what it's going to do to me. Am I going to question my own existence? Maybe. If being human means lying and puppets cannot lie, yeah, it's going to be interesting. On to something slightly less feelings involved. Let's talk about level design. This is the one thing that Souls-likes just can't seem to really nail down. Even my favorite game of all time, Neo 2, struggles in this specific area. Based on the extensive demo and the gameplay videos that have been released, I really do think this game has kind of nailed the level design. Of course, it's not out yet. I haven't experienced every level in the game, but from what I have experienced, it exudes masterful design that really shows how big of fans the creators are of the experience FromSoft offers up. Bonfires are in areas that you want them to be. Shortcuts are placed right when you think, man, I really should be getting a shortcut right now. And the level leads you to these things beautifully. It doesn't just feel like corridors that you're running through, and it doesn't make you feel like you're running through a linear map. There's places to veer off to with side quests and chests and items, which offers a sense of exploration and discovery while still maintaining the curated gameplay experience that many of us know and love. Not to mention the levels just look beautiful, both the level that you're actually running around in and also the background that's happening in the background of your gameplay. It is all beautiful, and from what we've seen so far, they're really varied in their visuals. You'll experience a city, which we did in the demo, that looks very Bloodborne, but then you have these immaculate, beautiful mansions. I can't wait to see all of these from myself because so far they are looking super good. Lastly, I would like to talk about the enemy design. We aren't just fighting demons or monsters here, although some of those are in Lies of P tied to an infection that's taking out citizens, but we are fighting other puppets. And these enemies have a wide range of styles, from a police officer that was created to keep the peace but have now turned on their human creators, to spiders that hold other enemies on strings, controlling their every move, to giant clowns and master puppets. I love this unique enemy and how they move in this kind of creepy mechanical way. It's just something that we don't get to see very often. The only thing that I have kind of seen it in is Steel Rising, and that Souls-like was it was okay. But also the variety of them, as well as the enemy variety in general with the other monsters or turned citizens. There's just a lot of enemy variety here, and that is always important in these kind of games especially. It's important in all games, but in Souls-like games, it is so important because otherwise you end up playing a lot of the game having solved how to approach each enemy, cutting down on the amount of combat puzzles that you have to learn and figure out. And all of this ties perfectly into the Pinocchio story and setting, which the whole game does phenomenally across the board, with familiar characters from the original stories such as Jiminy Cricket. How do they say it in the demo? Jiminy? I thought it was Jiminy. Clearly, I know nothing. Jiminy Cricket, who acts as your guide and also your lantern in dark places. You have Geppetto, of course. You have the donkey and the masked group of humans who hate puppets and hunt them down. And I'm really curious to see how the story unfolds because although there are a lot of remnants from the original story, the director did say that they have completely recreated the story into a dark and mysterious one. And the original story, if you don't know, is super dark, covering topics such as slavery, abuse, kidnapping. Hell, even Pinocchio gets taken out in quite a dramatic way. So we will see how much of the original remains after their retelling and if they're gonna get darker. I'm just really curious because there really is a lot of interesting and dark topics in the original story of Pinocchio, and you can really see that they're keeping a lot of the original in there, but they have changed a couple of things, such as the infection that is infecting the citizens of Krat. So we will see how it all turns out, but I am personally loving what they've done with it so far. And I think the fact that this is a Souls-like based on the story of Pinocchio is pretty unique in itself. It really gets me thinking about other fairy tales, because these fairy tales are very messed up. You may watch the Disney one and be like, oh, it's not so bad. There's some sad stuff, but the original is messed up and sad. So I would love to see more fairy tales in really any medium, but I think Souls games would do it really well because they are so dark. So maybe we'll get some more fairy tale Souls-likes in the future. There is, of course, more to Lies of P, such as the P organ system, which allows you to further customize your personal Pinocchio. The summoning mechanic for bosses, so yes, you will be able to summon for bosses if you so want to. And how freaking well optimized this game is, which unfortunately is becoming more and more of a unique thing for games, especially games on PC. But this thing runs amazing on consoles, PC, and also on the Steam Deck with very reasonable minimum specs, whilst maintaining beautiful visuals and also having really awesome looking effects throughout combat. But the things that we delve deep into are the things that I truly find unique about Lies of P when it comes to other Souls-likes, and these are the things that I wanted to highlight to you guys to be like, hey, you should be paying attention to this game, because this is not just another game that's trying to be Dark Souls or even trying to be Bloodborne. When you really look at it, it really has quite a lot of things unique about it. And personally, it is one of the games that I have been most excited about, and definitely one of the most anticipated this year in a packed year for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section if you will be playing Lies of P when it launches on September 19th or 16th into early access. I will definitely be streaming the entire thing, and I will have videos on this YouTube channel about it. So if you do want to catch me live on Twitch, you can find the link in the description. And if you want to see more, drop the video a like and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. Bye.
Just want you step with me, dance with me, here with me.